Alright, here we go. Let's see if I can beat Delirium with this. Ghost Baby out of nowhere for conjoined progress. There goes my mantle. Oh, that's why I should have kept my fucking telepills, in case I lost my mantle. Belly Jelly just saved me. I am fucking amazing at this game, oh my god. Oh my god.
You should now hit Delirium. We're gonna ignore the mantle being gone.
That's
nice.
Dead God. Oh my god. What a fucking sick way to get Dead God. Holy shit. Lose my mantle once because I wasn't paying attention and then proceed to no-hit Delirium with such a mediocre build. I want to see it. Yeah! My first Dead God file. I've completed the Binding of Isaac.
You have a complete Binding of Isaac. I see 2 Dead God and file saves.
Infinity % will come in time. I'm not, We have breaking news, a complete shift from what I was planning to do this week. Also, hey, what's up, it's Vixie. I hope you're having a great day and hope it gets better. Anyway, I have officially achieved Dead God on my first Isaac file. And it only took me like 1,000 hours to get there, but we got there. And I have been waiting to do these series of videos that is going to be coming out, periodically while I do other stuff for basically since I got halfway through my first Dead God file. I have wanted to do an Isaac ranking video series so badly because I have so many opinions on so many of these items and characters that are in this game. I am so looking forward to this. But of course, before we get into things, we have to do the smart things and we have to look at the comment of the week. I picked out this comment from Hyena Bang 665 where they say, "Bean, the quality was fine as long as we not sucking dog water through a 144p straw, all will be all right." This of course was on the last Isaac video where OBS was stupid. Censor that out, and recorded in 360p for absolutely no reason, but I have made sure, I have like quintuple checked that I'm recording in 1080p now, so I should be clear, the footage should be clear, everything should be clear. So, with that being said, if you would like to be the next comment of the week, you can leave a comment down below. Instead of doing a random thing, we haven't done a theme for a little bit. So, my theme, given the topic of the video, is what is your favorite Binding of Isaac playable character? And of course, I know a lot of people don't actually actively play Isaac on my channel, they just like to watch the Isaac videos, and that's why I have Snowy put more effort into explaining what items do in case, some of those people might not know what items do and where my mind's going. So if you don't play Isaac, but you still want to leave a comment saying what your favorite character is, you can just go off how they look if you want. I won't care, I won't split hairs. The most important thing is, leave a comment, tell me what your favorite Isaac character is, I'll pick out my favorite, and you'll be the next comment of the week on the next video. Regardless, we have officially returned once more onto the Tier Maker website, which I have grabbed this tier list here, made by, well, where does, come on, it says, doesn't it say who made it? Hold on. Anxiety plus TTV, there we go. I presume that's who made it. I'm borrowing this one because I do not like making my own tier lists. So we're just gonna go with this one, and I'm pretty sure it might be one that other Isaac YouTubers have made in the past. I'm not a dedicated Isaac YouTuber, obviously, but I play a lot of Isaac on my channel because it's one of my favorite games. With the B-roll footage of me doing whatever in Isaac, I just played that run, so stick around. It gets rough, and then it gets really cool, and then it starts to get rough again. So you have plenty of B-roll while I talk about nothing, and of course, we get into our first character ranking of Apollyon. Now, Apollon's an interesting one to start off with because he used to be one of my favorite characters. I used to have a whole lot of fun. I used to think his whole thing of starting with Void was really cool because anytime I got a bad item, I could just eat it and get random stats if I didn't care about it, which was cool. However, I have not played Apollyon in months, intentionally at least. I've gotten Apollyon once or twice from like random characters or whatever, or like a daily run. I have not intentionally played this character like at all. He starts with a quote-unquote quality 4. Make sure to subscribe with bell notifications so you don't miss the item ranking. But overall, I would say Apollyon is a perfectly okay character that I would never really think about intentionally playing. So I think it's pretty fitting that Apollyon is going to go into middle of C tier. He's a perfectly fine character. Given the amount of characters in Isaac, I am going to try and keep things brief, but I'll probably have a few things to say about a few characters. Next up, we are looking at Azazel. Azazel is a character that I'm pretty sure everyone loves playing because Azazel is a relatively easy character to get, and he's super, super strong. So when you're first starting out, your favorite character is probably going to be Azazel just because he starts with Brimstone. Even if he doesn't have the range, he can get range back by, you know, just getting stats like any other character. So starting out with Brimstone is absolutely fucking crazy, and he also starts with Flight, and he also starts with a Fool card, so first floor, you can get a free curse room, which could lead into a immediate goat head for fucking free. So Azazel is stupidly strong. The only thing that I would say could make Azazel even stronger is if he started with some sort of active item. But I would say between the Flight, the limited Brim, the Fool card for free curse rooms, only real downside being that you don't really start with any permanent HP, I would say Azazel is either bottom of S tier or top of A tier. Very, very good character. Next up, we have Humble Bethany. And I'm just remembering that I have a mod that makes her hair look better. I have not seen Bethany's vanilla sprite in a while, and she looked kind of goofy, eh? But anyway, Bethany is a very interesting character, and a character that I like quite a bit because she starts with Book of Revelations, which guarantees that your first devil deal will be an angel deal, which I like because I prefer angels over devils, both in general and in Isaac. Also, on top of the fact that you start with Book of Rev and you get, you know, guaranteed angel, Book of Virtues, not Book of Rev, Book of Virtues. You start with an active item, and it's not just any active item, it is an active item that you keep regardless of what active you put on top of it, and it will amplify the effect of whatever active item you have. For example, if you start with Book of Virtues, you get lucky, you get a 1% library start where it's just sitting there, and you get a key, you come back, you get Book of Shadows, you're set. You only need those two items. All you need is Book of Shadows, Book of Virtues, and then you're done. Because the Wisps themselves do so much damage, and they are completely invincible just like you. You could just go full contact build and just have those two items and you would beat a run. I've basically done that before with how bad my run was. I just relied on my Book of Shadows Wisps. And because of that, I'm actually going to rate Bethany really, really high. Maybe a little bit behind Azazel in A tier. And before we move on, I would like to very quickly say that if you enjoy my videos, make sure to subscribe with bell notifications so you don't miss my uploads. Like the video if you end up enjoying the video, and make sure, of course, to leave a comment telling me how you think. I gotta get that plug in like early or else I'm gonna forget. So with that shameless plug out of the way, you keep that in mind because we have another one coming up. We are moving on to our next character, Blue Baby. Our first character that has really nothing going for it. They start with slightly increased damage, which is cool, I guess. They start with the poop, which is ass, ha. But of course, Blue Baby starts with the unique effect of when you break a poop, you get a fly. So force multiplier, you can shid max and drop your poops and then break the poops so you have a bunch of flies. It's a force multiplier. Blue Baby's a bad character, but they're not the worst character. They can still do stuff. The biggest downside I would say is that Blue Baby isn't allowed to have red HP, so you only have temporary HP. But then again, that's how I play Cult of the Lamb. It's not the worst, but Blue Baby's definitely not a good character. So I would say maybe a generous low C tier. Fine, on the cusp of being a really bad character. Next up, we have everyone's favorite, Kain. I would say Kain is very similar to Azazel, where if you're just starting out, your favorite's probably going to be Kain, because he starts with Luckfoot. You get nothing but good pills from the very start. You start with high luck because of that, which means you get more room clear rewards, you get more stuff, and of course, you have a better chance of winning at gambling. Not specifically because you have high luck, but that specific secondary effect of, I think, Luckfoot. Having guaranteed good pills from the very start is very, very strong. Having increased luck from the very start is very, very strong. Having increased chance at winning Gamba is very, very strong. Kain is a really good character. Very similar to Azazel. I think the only thing that would make him better is if he starts with an active item. I don't know what you would give him. Maybe portable slot. That'd be kind of cool. But Kain in general is a very good character, and I would honestly put him above Azazel, because Azazel still has the downside of getting negative pills, which could completely fuck your run if you get unlucky. Next up, interestingly, we have Eden, the perfectly random character. Well, not the perfectly random character, because there's an evolution of Eden that is even more random and even more fun because of that. Eden, purely by nature of them being totally random, you don't really get to rank him super good or super bad. He's kind of by design in the middle. You can have runs that are insanely strong from the very beginning. You start with high damage, high tier rate, no HP. You get spin down and sacred orb. You could get insane runs if you're lucky and starting with Eden. But conversely, you could also get insanely dog shit runs too. You could start with no tier rate, no damage, no HP, no speed. You'll get Mom's Pad and IBS. There's no HP on the entire floor. Your only item is blocked behind a spike rock, which you can't go through because you don't have the HP for it. You'll just die. And then you end up having to fight Pink Champion Haunt. Then you're just dead. You can't do anything. Skill issue. So objectively, Eden fits perfectly well sitting in the exact middle of the tier list, because you don't know. You can't rank this character. You can get amazing runs, you can get dog shit runs, you can just get a regular run. So objectively, Eden should be like high C tier, low B tier, right on the very edge, because that would be perfectly middle. However, I love playing Eden. Eden streaking is one of the funnest things you can do when you have like nothing else to do. You just pick Eden, you pick a random end goal, and then you just do it and you see what happens. It's a lot of fun. So not going to be A tier purely because of the random nature, but Eden is going to be sitting comfortably in high B tier. Getting into the goodness, we have Eve. Purely by virtue of the fact that in the B-roll I am playing Eve, you might have a good idea that I really like this character. I think she's great. Ever since I first started playing Isaac and unlocked Eve, I've played basically just her. She, of course, was the first character I full marked just because I played her the most. I thought she's the funnest. I really like her starting with Horror Babylon and Dead Bird because I just like Dead Bird because I like birds, so having a bird familiar is cool. And there's a level of strategy you can put into it with Horror Babylon where you usually just you get a free, quote unquote, free curse room on the first floor because you want to lose that first heart anyway to activate Horror Babylon. So you're still taking damage, but you're getting a huge buff out of it in your speed and your damage. But also you could just commit and deal with the bad starting stats that Eve has in order to save your heart if you don't find any hearts along the way, to use your Razor Blade to buff your damage even more for the boss fight. I did that a lot. My old strat when I used to play Eve a lot before I started, working on other characters and playing, other characters and getting better at the game, was to stack up my HP as much as possible so I could just crank my damage in the boss fight and obliterate it regardless of what my build is. There's a lot more things you can do with Eve other than deleting your red HP so you're always in Horror Babylon. And then of course, when you unlock Birthright, you can just get best of the both worlds because it no longer cares how much HP you have for Horror. You're just always in Horror Babylon. Eve is a great character. I love playing her. She's really, really strong. She gets way too much hate. Everyone who likes Judas should like Eve because they do the same thing. I'm really strong at 1 HP. So I'm gonna say Eve is our first S tier. She is my favorite character. I thought another character might be my new favorite character for a while, and granted it's close fight, but being able to go back and play Eve again, I remember why I love her so much, so she's definitely still my favorite character. And she's just kind of my style. We both have our right eye covered by our hair. So, I mean, of course, Eve is my favorite character. And we'll use our first S tier character as a marker for me to do the Patreon plug. So a huge shout out to all of my current patrons. I love you all so much. If you would like to support me in the channel, you can do so on Patreon for just $5 a month, and you'll get a bunch of cool perks, such as work in progress art, whether it be for thumbnails or just something I have to be working on, full resolution art, including for thumbnails. You'll get early access to all of my videos, and you'll get access to a special channel where I host all of my director's cut and uncut content for your viewing pleasure. Additionally, if you don't want to pay a subscription service, which I totally understand, you can always just buy some of my art on its own individually, because with a few exceptions, all of my art is just available for a one-time purchase as well. But if you want that really cool exclusive video content, make sure to subscribe. And with that, we move on to our next character, the Forgotten. The Forgotten is really cool and also a really strong character, like a stupidly strong character. When you're playing as the Forgotten itself, your Bone Club does stupid damage. If you get tier rate, you're basically set. Which actually, come to think about it, I can't remember if tier rate affects how often you can swing or if it just affects the charge rate. But regardless, the point is, when you're playing as Bones, you got big damage. Forgotten for pure DPS is a super strong character. And additionally, because of the soul, you can get half-price curse rooms because you can just fly through as the soul. Another super strong character. I am a little bit annoyed that the Forgotten itself isn't allowed to have soul or black hearts. They both go to the soul. So it can be a little annoying if you're not paying attention with losing your deal chance and all. And also it makes actually taking devil deals a little bit interesting because you either have to dedicate losing one of your bone containers or a lot of your soul hearts. So depending on who you prefer to play, it can be kind of annoying. I would say Tainted or regular Forgotten is probably middle high B tier. Next up, we have, of course, Isaac. I am not going to beat around the bush with Isaac because let's just get this out of the way. Isaac is the best character in the game. He is the best character by far. He starts with decent stats. He starts with a bomb. He starts with a D6 once you unlock it. He is a completely blank slate character that starts with one of the best active items in the game. He doesn't start with reduced HP. He doesn't start with reduced damage. He doesn't start with reduced tier rate, range, whatever. He is completely default character plus one of the best active items in the game from the get-go. You don't even have to do anything aside from kill Isaac as Blue Baby once, and then you have the D6 forever. Isaac is just the best character in the game. So purely because this is my specific tier list, this is more so talking about how much I like a given character and not how good they are. So I am still going to put him behind Eve because I like Eve more, but I do recognize that Isaac is the best character in the game. This is just how much do I like a given character. And of course, Isaac is still S tier. Next up, we have Jacob and Esau, which is really interesting because this is the only character in the game where you're playing two characters at once. And that is about as big of a nightmare as you would expect. Jacob is basically full default Isaac. I think his stats might be a little different. He's basically just Isaac, but different. And then Esau, of course, starts with reduced HP, 1 soul heart, and increased damage. So if you're using them together, your DPS output is actually pretty good. But it's the issue of actually getting around playing Jacob and Esau because it is so hard. You can get it down to a science where you can kind of work with it. I used to be one of the people who was just like, I'm gonna be a contrarian, then say that Jacob and Esau is really good and I love playing them, which is half true now. I still posit that Jacob and Esau can be really good, but purely the nightmare of actually playing them makes them not a character I enjoy whatsoever. So I'm gonna say that Jacob and Esau is a high D tier. Mentioned prior, next we have Judas, the other I have 1 HP, so I'm super strong character, which, yeah, fair enough. He starts with already increased damage. He has 1 heart container, which means, no curse terms for you, but you don't really care. On top of your increased starting stats, you also start with Book of Belial, which means for a room you get even more damage, making him kind of quasi at bossing from the very get-go. Usually you want more secondary tier effects than raw stats when bossing because boss armor can get in the way and a lot of tier effects go around that. But for a lot of the starting bosses, having big damage is kind of all you really need because they don't have a lot, if any, boss armor. So for the first couple floors, Judas is kind of quasi. The big thing is that you don't have HP, which kill one boss, you're probably going to have another heart container. If you get lucky and you get something like Blue Larry Jr., you'll probably get an HP up item from your pedestal, and also he drops a guaranteed soul heart. So now you have 2 red hearts and a soul heart on top of Judas's increased stats, so you're kind of good. And of course, Book of Belial isn't just a damage buff, it also increases your chances at deals. Yeah, Judas is another stupidly good character. I would say, while yes, you can basically immediately fix the fact that he has reduced HP, if you're not super well versed on the game, it can be kind of hard to get to and kill your boss if like you're just starting out. You're just like, oh, Judas has increased damage, I want to try him. It can be kind of annoying to kill your boss to fix your HP. Purely because of that, I'm going to put him right behind Azazel in A tier. Azazel has a similar problem with, only having mostly temporary HP, but I think Azazel starting with a form of Brimstone is just a little bit stronger than high starting stats in Book of Belial. Next up, we have the Keeper. The Keeper is a very cool and fun character, and I appreciate him. However, by virtue of what Keeper is, I would say he's not an awesome character. He's good. He has a lot of damage starting off because he starts with increased damage and triple shot. So his Call of Duty TTK is a lot higher than a lot of the other characters. However, the reduced tier rate can be really annoying, especially if you get unlucky and your first pill is a tiers down pill. That is painful. It's painful to a point where a lot of time if I am playing Keeper and my first pill is a tiers down, if I do not get a tiers up as my treasure room item, I'm probably just going to hold R because I'm just not going to deal with that. In general, I would say Keeper is another good good character if he had something going for him aside from Wooden Nickel that would make it so money spawns a little bit more often. Maybe if he didn't start with -2 luck, I might rate him pretty high, but right now I would say that he's probably top of C tier. He's very okay. This is, of course, also including the fact that he can't have heart containers. He only gets coin containers, which are always one hit. So compared to other characters, he basically starts with 1.5 hearts, which is kind of a pain in the ass, especially seeing how you can only heal with money. Next up, we have Lazarus. Oh, yeah. First character that I do not like whatsoever. It is of my humble opinion that Lazarus does the same thing that Eve and Judas do, where they're really strong at 1 HP because you want to die as Lazarus to get that permanent stat buff, and then you play as Risen Lazarus. That is too much. That is too much effort. Eve is the perfect amount of effort for me in actively trying to make myself strong. I will take damage. I will damage myself a little bit just to get me set up. I will take a 1 heart devil deal if I'm not going angels. I will take a 1 heart devil deal to reduce me to 1 red heart container voluntarily so I get big damage and speed buff. I am not going to stand around and die at the end of every floor just to min-max my damage. Moreover, when I die, you don't really buff me enough to make me feel it's worth it. I believe that Lazarus does not have enough going for him to be a character that I would ever voluntarily play. I do not like Lazarus. I will actually intentionally play Jacob and Esau more often than Lazarus, purely because they have a fun gimmick. So with that being said, Lazarus is going into very likely middle of D tier. Keeping up the trend of characters I don't really like, we have Lilith. Conceptually and visually, I like Lilith. I think she's neat. And of course, she starts with another quality 4 item, much like Isaac. She starts with Incubus, which is crazy. She also starts with Cambion Conception. So if you stack up on HP a lot, you can play Blood Machines, you can go into Curse Rooms, you can play the Sack Room, you can take a whole bunch of damage, and you'll get a random familiar every so often. And if you get lucky, you might even get Twisted Pair on top of your Incubus, which is crazy. However, oh my god, I hate just shooting with my familiars. I do not want to play around my familiars. I want to make a crazy fun build on me specifically, and the familiars are here to help with that. I can't stand having it so my shots are effectively on like a half-second delay. I can deal with it online because the entirety of me is on like a half-second delay, but just my shots, that is too much of a disconnect between me moving and me shooting for me to be good at it. I do not enjoy playing Lilith at all. This is another character that I will not be overly upset if she shows up on random, but I will never intentionally pick Lilith. So I think she's going to be not top of D tier, but probably very bottom of C tier. You know what? I feel more confident playing her than Blue Baby, so we'll move her up a little bit, but she'll probably still be on like the bottom half of C tier. Next, of course, we have The Lost. Another very fun, very cool, very neat character. I think genuinely The Lost is one of the best put together characters in this game. It is the perfect amount of risk reward. His other variant, which of course we will get to later, is a little bit skewed too far in the risk versus reward. I think The Lost is perfectly smack dab right down the middle. Of course, with this list, considering all of their starting items and everything, The Lost is a super cool character because you start with Holy Mantle. It gives you that 1-hit protection. So if you're decent at the game, you could probably take a hit, survive the rest of the room, and get your mantle back so you can have that 1 hit again for whatever reasons you might want it, namely being alive. You start with ED6, which is not overly strong, but is and has the potential to be as good as the D6 if you get lucky with it. So it's not overly tweaked into reward, where this hard character that starts with a really strong active item, it's not overly tweaked towards a risk, where you might be kind of okay at some specific things. Maybe you have more stats, but if you take 1 hit, you are dead. The Lost, I believe, is an example of, once you unlock all the items, the most perfectly balanced character in this entire game. And because of that, The Lost is one of the funnest characters to play in the entire game. The Lost is so much fun. I mentioned earlier a character that I thought might be my new favorite character instead of Eve. That character was The Lost, because The Lost is, once again, in my opinion, perfectly balanced. And because of that, The Lost is going right above Isaac in S tier. Whole lot of fun, whole lot of risk reward, potential to be as crazy as Isaac, while, you know, the satisfaction of knowing I beat this run as a really hard character. Awesome character. Next up, we have Magdalene. Maggie is very interesting because I feel nothing about this character. Literally nothing. She starts with big HP, she's slow, she starts with Yum Heart, she starts with a full health pill, which means early ass sack rooms where you can sneak out some angel items or some soul hearts or what have you. That's about it. She is a character that can get early sack rooms and might be able to stack up a good amount of early money if you decide to play a blood bank you got on the first floor somehow, maybe you got a temperance card. She is purely okay. It's a little annoying that she starts with reduced speed, but I get it. She's supposed to be like the tank of the original few characters. I get it. I feel nothing about this character. So she is going to be smack dab in the middle of low B tier, high C tier. Oh boy, oh cool, oh yes, oh boy. We have Samson. Samson is another character that benefits from taking damage to increase your damage because he starts with Bloody Lust. That's the one? Because Lusty Blood is the damage one, I think? Snowy, back check me on that. Alright, and now shoot that information into my brain so I know which one is which. Okay, it's Bloody Lust. Thank you, Snowy. Samson starts with Bloody Lust, so you take damage, you get damage. It's super cool, right? I hate Samson. I hate Samson so goddamn much. I hate that the only way that I can get Samson to being good and cool and something different than Isaac is to stand on a curse room for the next 15 seconds and slowly watch my HP tick down. And then I forget, do I have to get hit 6 times, 9 times, or 13 times? I don't remember. I think it's 9. So I just get hit down to half HP and be like, you know, that's good enough. And then I go to the next floor basically as a no mantle tainted loss. And granted, I have a lot of damage, but oops, that trite up in the top left decided to fucking cross map me and jump on top of me, and oops, I lost the run. On top of the fact that it isn't based on how much HP you don't have, it's based on how much HP you lose by taking damage. So it's not like Eve where you can just remove one of your red heart containers through a devil deal and then you're good. You need to stack up red HP. It needs to be specifically red HP so you can restore it, unless you have, I don't know, like you're getting really lucky with a fortune cookie or something and you keep getting soul hearts. I don't know. But generally, you need to stack up your red HP so you can hit yourself down and get all of your stacks from Bloody Lust to make sure you don't suck. And because you're stacking mostly red HP, oh, hey, look, you have like no shield when it comes to losing your deal chance. So you may have like 7 heart containers, but not a single one of them is a soul heart because you haven't found a tinted rock yet. You haven't gotten lucky with your fortune cookie in a while. And then, oops, hey, look, that trite again, and it hits you, and oops, guess you're not getting a deal this for. Sucks to suck. I hate Samson. If I were to take a guess, there is exactly 3 characters that I'm going to do this. Samson is an F tier. I'm not going to bother differentiating between high F tier and low F tier. Sort of like how in, you know, grading systems, there's no such thing as an F minus or an F plus. There's just, you fail. Samson fails. He fails the vibe check. I hate him. Moving on with all of the regular characters out of the way, we are moving on to Tainted Apollyon for our first Tainted character. Tainted Apollyon is basically the exact same feelings I have on regular Apollyon. Although, after the Repentance Plus buffs, I think it's interesting how Abyss works. I think the Locusts are cool. I can understand someone really liking Tainted Apollyon because of his unique gimmick, a lot like the reason why I give Jacob and Esau credit for being unique and cool and different. I don't care. I don't hate Tainted Apollyon, but this is just a character that I never think about playing. If I happen to be doing a random Tainted character run and I get Tainted Apollyon, my reaction isn't, oh, cool. It isn't, oh, god damn it. It is, oh. I do not think about this character. I do not think about Tainted Apollyon. I do not think about playing Tainted Apollyon. I don't think of weird builds I could do with Tainted Apollyon, because if I get something that I can do with, like, I get C-Section or something, I'm not going to eat it to see what the C-Section Locust does. I'm just going to grab C-Section. Tainted Apollyon is here. He is here. He exists. I don't hate him. I don't love him. He is a character that you can play in this video game if you so choose. Dead middle, maybe a little bit above Maggie. Moving on next, we have Tainted Azazel. Tainted Azazel, I'd actually say, is potentially one of the strongest characters in the entire game. Tainted Azazel is stupid strong, like even stronger than regular Azazel, because while they do have little bitty brimstone doesn't do a whole lot on its own. They also start with hemoptysis. So you can just give things brimstone sickness, and also the sneeze itself does pretty good damage because it scales off of your damage. So even if you have like stupid low tear rate, you could just double tap a direction and sneeze on someone and damage them that way. And if they don't die from that and you have good tear rate, blah blah blah, you're just playing Tainted Azazel, you sneeze on them, you charge up, you shoot them, they explode, spread the sickness to everyone. Hey, you now all take insane damage from brimstone. Which, by the way, even if I have little baby brimstone, there's always the possibility of getting Maw of the Void, Lil Abaddon, or these other things that have brimstone adjacent lasers that count for the hemoptysis sickness. So even if you don't get real brimstone, even if you don't get a whole lot of damage, you could just also get just Maw of the Void and then use that with hemoptysis, and that's your damage. Tainted Azazel is dummy strong if you actually bother, you know, doing the hemoptysis thing, which I don't know why you do. I don't know why you would play Tainted Azazel if you're not doing that. It is kind of unfortunate that he no longer has flight, but I get it. If he had everything that regular Azazel had, but is also dummy strong and starting with hemoptysis and has infinite range because he has little baby brimstone and not minimum range brimstone, that would just be like one of the best characters in the game. So I would rate Tainted Azazel maybe just behind Kayn, purely because the potential that Kayn has to be stupid good with specifically Luckfoot is crazy. Moving on, we have Tainted Bethany. Tainted Bethany is another super cool character, and also just visual design wise, pixel art wise, she looks a lot cooler than regular Bethany too. Starting with Lemegeton is a very interesting possibility because, of course, Lemegeton doesn't just give you a random item, it sort of kind of pays attention to the pool of the room you're currently sitting in. So if you find an early secret room, you get, you just want to get whatever, you get your treasure room, you go into the curse room, you can kind of curate what sort of build you're going to get from the get-go. Even if you don't have D6, if you don't have a pedestal item in your secret room, your curse room, whatever, you just have the book. And the book's cool because you can charge the book with red hearts, which you don't need because you can only have non-red hearts. There are so many things in this game that give you red HP or make red HP spawn more often that you might never really think about because you only need so much red HP that you can kind of stack up a lot of charges on the Lemegeton. And if you get lucky and you get all of like the heavy hitter wisps that you were looking for super early on, you can just kind of use Lemegeton whenever and you'll get whatever. And even if the items you get from those wisps aren't great, they serve a purpose even then to just be a shield to your good item wisps that are ideally on the inside of wherever you are. I think Tainted Bethany is a super interesting character. She has the potential to be really, really strong in a really weird way. And also, even though it's definitely frustrating, I think it's pretty funny when you get into like your Delirium or your Mega Satan fight where there's a lot of tears going around and it's slowly whittling away all of your wisps because you're just your wisp rings are too big to avoid every shot, and you just slowly start losing very specific parts of your build, and then you end up having like, I don't even remember picking up number 1 and Continuum. Why am I stuck with this? At least I still have Parasite, I guess. Wait a second, I just lost Parasite, but I'm still doing splitting shots. Oh, I have Cricket's body, apparently. I think that's really funny. Just going into shit and grabbing whatever and not even knowing what your build is. I think that's really, really funny. And purely because of that experience, I'm going to put her at the very top of B tier behind regular Bethany. Purely because I really appreciate that regular Bethany gets that first angel deal, purely off of vibes. Next up, we have Tainted Blue Baby. Oh boy, this character. I love this character. I love that the entire joke is that this character is shit. Not, in the literal sense, except also, yes, in the literal sense, but mostly in the functional sense. This character is shit. Tainted Blue Baby is totally shit, because that's the joke. Unfortunately, because haha funny joke, Tainted Blue Baby being shit extends to every aspect of this character. They are not fun to play, they suck, they're bad character. Just like regular Blue Baby, they don't get any permanent HP, it's only temporary HP. I don't even think they get the bonus that regular Blue Baby has where you destroy a poop, you get a fly. I don't even think they can Shin Max because of that. And the biggest thing that I hold against Tainted Blue Baby is this one simple fact. If there was one character in this entire game that you could skip for Dead God, that you could actively unmark to remove all the things you unlock by doing the marks on this character, or if you could specifically turn off the unlocks you get from one character and keep your Dead God progress, I would do that to Blue Baby. I would blacklist Blue Baby's items from ever showing up. They do not unlock a single good item, not one. Every single item they unlock sucks. You can kind of make the argument for Montezuma being okay, and as if infected by Tainted Blue Baby itself, my PNG tuber thing crashed. So I don't know how long I was frozen for, but it's fixed now. I'll keep an eye on it. But as I was saying, there is not a single objectively good item that Tainted Blue Baby unlocks. They suck to play, their stats aren't great, they can have bombs, so whether or not you can even get secret rooms or whatever is entirely up to your shit RNG. They can hurt themselves, and the biggest point against them, all of their unlocks are totally awful, and most importantly, spoilers for the item tier list, they unlock the worst item in the entire game, IBS. If I could unlock IBS, I would do it in a heartbeat. I would flat out remove that item in the game from the game if I had the choice. There's no reason to ever play Tainted Blue Baby aside from getting Dead God. That's it. And even then, they infect your item pool with objectively terrible items. So, of course, Tainted Blue Baby is going to be at the very bottom of F tier. I know I said I wouldn't differentiate, but they are a special case. They will be the worst character in the entire game, bar none. Every character that is not Tainted Blue Baby is better than Tainted Blue Baby, which is upsetting because I get that that's the point. The joke is that they are the shittiest character in the game, and just by virtue of that happening, they are the worst character, and they're at the very bottom of the tier list. Next up, we have Tainted Cain, another character with a really fun gimmick of you can't have pedestal items, but you start with Bag of Crafting, so you just craft whatever items you want. If you do not have item descriptions, I do not understand how you would ever play this character. I don't know if the internal item descriptions show you recipes. If it does, great for you console players. Aside from that, I don't think any console players would play this character unless they specifically love playing Tainted Cain and they did a lot of research into like what sort of, math goes into what the randomly generated recipes do, so you can kind of get an idea of what you're going for. I have a vague idea on how to do it. I'm not going to beat around the bush. I play on PC. I have external item descriptions. I'm just going to look at the recipes. I'm not going to waste my time. If you play a Tainted Cain run, you're probably going to be there for 3 hours anyway. I'm not going to make it any longer than trying to math out what items I want. I will say, purely by virtue of what Tainted Cain is, I used to absolutely despise this character and think there was no point in ever playing it. That was because I didn't understand how he works. I then figured it out and was like, oh, this is the strongest character in the entire game. I'm not gonna say best, but Tainted Cain is the strongest character in the entire game because you can quite literally build your character however the fuck you want. The only caveat is you kind of need to get specific items to get there, but oops, craft them. Yeah, you need more pennies for your build? Cool. Craft wooden nickel. Craft pageant boy. You need keys for your build? Cool. Craft latch key. Ooh, you want just items in general? You want just pickups in general? Cool. Grab sackhead. Just craft sackhead. There you go. You need runes because you want to tap into the secret room pool. I think it's either secret room or planetarium, but you need runes for your build. Cool. Craft rune bag. Just do whatever. You're gonna be here for a while, but you can really just do whatever with Tainted Cain. And I fully respect that. Strongest character in the entire game because you literally tell the game how you want to play. However, I like Isaac. I do not like Isaac enough to play a single run for more than 3 hours. I played a single run for 6 hours once just so I could see if I could do something. I'm never doing that again. I max out at like an hour and a half. So, purely because of that, Tainted Cain is going to be top of A tier. Well, no, if it's my enjoyment, we're going to say near the bottom of A tier. We'd be right behind Bethany, because just going off enjoyment, I respect it. It's fun being able to craft my own build. The likelihood of me playing Tainted Cain is not high. If I get him in random, I won't complain, because I'm just going to be there for a while. I'm going to play Isaac for a while. I'm going to build whatever the fuck build I want. It's okay. Conversely, the exact opposite of Tainted Cain, we have Tainted Eden. So, you know how I was just talking about how Tainted Cain can build literally whatever the fuck build he feels like? Tainted Eden is the exact opposite. You just get what the game gives you. You start with random items and such, random items, random stats, just like regular Eden, but Except also, this time, whenever you take damage, you get rerolled, and whenever you go to the next floor, you get rerolled. This is the level of pure fuckshit random that I just totally respect and can never take seriously. Even when I get, just screwed over and over and over and over repeatedly with terrible builds, I can't even get mad because it's like, that's just the nature of the beast, man. If you're playing Tainted Eden, you know what you're getting into. You're not going to get insanely good builds. You're not going to get mediocre builds. It's best to just go in expecting you're going to get nothing but the worst dog shit that you could possibly get. And because of that, it makes it so when you do get a good build, it feels even better. Tainted Eden is a whole hell of a lot of fun. I don't know if I'm going to play them more than regular Eden, so I'm going to put them right behind the Forgotten in B tier. Right behind the Forgotten, not Apollyon, thank you. Moving on, we have Tainted Eve. Now, of course, with Eve being my absolute favorite character in this game, you might think that Tainted Eve being as good as she is, I probably also really like. Nope. Nah. No. You wanna know why I hate playing Tainted Eve? Aside from the fact that she's slow and also has low tier rate, she has a very similar problem with Samson. I don't want to continuously be losing my HP, this time also including any soul hearts and black hearts and eternal hearts I may have. But with the fact that those hearts get plopped down as little cloddy boys around me, it's not even like those are going into something that is intangible. It's not even like they're banking something in that won't go away for the entire floor, right? It's not like Samson, where so long as you take those first 9 hits or whatever, and then you can heal back up and just do the rest of the floor, you have that damage for the rest of the floor. You're just putting your heart on the ground, so it takes damage on the ground instead of when you get hit. Which also, by the way, if you somehow manage to get disconnected from your clots for one reason or other, which if you do, what the fuck are you even doing? But that's beside the point. If you do end up getting like disconnected from your cloth for one reason or another, or there's creep on the floor you didn't see, there's a spike rock you weren't paying attention to, you're gonna die because all of your hearts are on the floor and you're on half a heart, which, hey, at least you're protected from a lot of contact damage and a lot of shots from enemies and stuff, but oops, there was creep on the floor that you didn't notice and now you're dead. I know you picked up like 17 different hearts and all, but you died because you yourself as a character only have one hit. Tainted Eve, if you are maximizing the amount of clots that you have, you're basically playing No Mantle Lost, but with the world, like the most orbitals you could possibly think of. So Tainted Eve has the potential to just kind of exist and not care, but that's really only if you have the HP to make a whole bunch of clots and also a lot of HP to make up for any mistakes you might make. Basically what I'm trying to say is I hate playing Tainted Eve because I'm not good at Tainted Eve. I hate Tainted Eve. If you remember how I mentioned that regular Eve is the perfect amount of risk reward for me, a lot like Lost, where it's just kind of like, okay, I need to sacrifice this much, I need to sacrifice a heart container, I need to lose my first red heart for one reason or another to activate Horde Babylon or whatever. I was talking about, I like that because it adds that little bit of extra like influence to me making myself good and making the choice of being strong. Tainted Eve completely ruins that because you suck unless you specifically do the thing where you lose HP. A lot like Samson. Except Samson gets a little bit of a leg up purely based on the fact that he's kind of just Isaac. He's kind of just Isaac starting with Bloody Lust, minus the D6, obviously. So even Samson has a little bit of a leg up on Tainted Eve. I was originally thinking that when I make this tier list, the only characters in F tier are going to be Samson, Tainted Blue Baby, and another character we haven't gotten to yet. But I'm honestly considering putting Tainted Eve in F tier too, because this is another character that I will never voluntarily play. I could put her at the very bottom of D tier because that's sort of the similar vibe I have with Lazarus. Actually, I think objectively, right, just talking objectively here for a second, because of where I put Lazarus and my opinion on Lazarus of a character I will never play that technically has something going for them, Eve would fit right next to Lazarus. But purely because subjectively, this is my subjective list, I'm putting Tainted Eve in F tier. Just purely for the fact that it's a character I hate that is also the alternative to my favorite character. It has the added bonus of being something I used to love, but worse, thus making it, by comparison, one of the worst things ever. It's a lot like, weird random comparison, it's a lot like Gudra for me. I absolutely love everything about Goodra. It is my favorite pseudo-legendary Pokemon. It's one of my top 10 favorite Pokemon. I love its shiny, I love its base form, I love its adorableness, I appreciate its thickness, both in its stats and its big chunky belly. I think it's adorable. And then Pokemon Legends Arceus came out and they gave Hisuian Goodra. It's like, oh hey, look, it's leading into the snail thing. Oh, I see they did the sleepy eyes thing for like the 17,000th time for one of the Hisuian forms, so that's kind of boring. At least we got a cool extra tanky version of Goodra. I'll make sure to shiny farm it, and then I get a shiny Gumi, I evolve it into a shiny Hisuian Sliggoo, and I already see the writing on the wall because it didn't change at all. The shell is now bronze. Maybe that's a fluke. Maybe someone at Game Freak just didn't like Sliggoo. I'll just evolve it into Hisuian Goodra. I spent all this time getting a shiny Gumi. I'll just evolve it to Hisuian Goodra and appreciate it. Oh. I don't know what I expected. They took a really great shiny and they made it barely change at all for no reason whatsoever. And because of that, Hisuian Goodra, I think, is like my third least favorite Pokemon ever. Not because Hisuian Goodra's bad, not because it's a stupid design, not because there's anything objectively wrong with Hisuian Goodra. They just took one of my top 10 favorite Pokemon of all time, gave it a visually decent regional form that also completely ruins its shiny absolutely inexplicably for no reason whatsoever. It's sort of that similar deal with Tainted Eve. They're not a bad character. They're a really good character, actually, if you can get into the feel of how to play them. You made my favorite character immediately worse, and I hate Tainted Eve because of that, so into F tier she goes. Now, to bring the mood up a little bit, we have Tainted Forgotten. Oh boy, do I love this character. I love being a character with a fun gimmick. It's so much fun playing this character because it has a similar deal with Lilith where you're not really the one doing the damage. Your familiar, quote unquote, is. Your familiar, of course, being your bones. Your bones still got the club. You can toss your bones, you can pick up your bones, you can toss your bones, you can smack with the bones, but the bones can't move. The only way the bones move is if you pick them up and you huck them at people. That's so fucking funny. Suck the bones, yeah. On top of the fact that you can get through rooms really, really quickly with Tainted Forgotten because, you know, you can, on top of whatever your speed stat may be, you can huck the bones through the door. So you can really, really quickly speedrun. My literal only complaint with Tainted Forgotten is that the only time you can play hot potato with him is if you are specifically doing the hot potato challenge. If, say, for example, you picked up you picked up Kamikaze, which is also objectively strong on this character. If you picked up Kamikaze and it had a unique effect on Tainted Forgotten of making it a time bomb that periodically explodes, top 5 characters. The hot potato challenge is so insanely fun. It is the funnest challenge in the entire game. It is, I want that to be a function of Tainted Forgotten if you pick up a specific item or a specific synergy. That would be amazing. But unfortunately, as I mentioned, that is my only complaint about this character because he can't actually do that unless you're specifically doing the hot potato challenge. With that being said, Tainted Forgotten is going at the very top of A tier. Almost, go on, Kane, there we go. Almost one of my favorite characters, almost in the top 5. Tainted Forgotten is so much fun and is genuinely a good character with interesting gameplay. If you get an odd leaf, you can just toss your bones somewhere and you can do whatever and you're completely invulnerable, which is crazy and I feel like isn't intentional because that's so stupidly strong. But regardless, Tainted Forgotten, 2 enthusiastic thumbs up from me. If I could do the hot potato challenge just by picking up items in a random run, they would be in my top 5 favorite characters, which I think I will save my S tier for my top 5 characters, just so you have like, the rest of them aren't really ordered, just so we have a visual of top 5. S tier will be my 5 absolute favorite characters. We'll have it that way. Moving on, next we have Tainted Isaac. Tainted Isaac, much like regular Isaac, is another very, very strong character. What with him being Tainted Isaac, he keeps that similar idea of Isaac being, you know, the master of his own destiny. What with this whole thing basically being him writing a story and making a game with his dad or whatever. He's the master of his own destiny. He can do whatever he wants. That's why he starts with the D6. He's just like, I don't want that one. Blah, blah, blah. Here, I'll re-roll it and pick this one instead. Oh boy, I got Glitched Crown instead of Skeleton Key. Oh boy. That same sort of idea remains with Tainted Isaac. However, with him being tainted, there's something wrong with him, and that Wrong thing being, of course, that he doesn't actually start with the D6, he's just passively flipping between two different items the whole time, and without Birthright, you can only hold a maximum of 8 items, which I think is super, super interesting. I respect how interesting he is. He's just as strong as Isaac without actually being, well, I mean, he literally is, but without being the original Isaac. I don't know that I would intentionally play him all that often, but I would definitely not be upset if I got him in a random Tainted run. So I would say Tainted Isaac purely because of how strong he is and the fact that he's just kind of a good character with an interesting gimmick. I'm going to put him right in front of Eden in B tier. Next up, we have Tainted Jacob, which this could be pretty interesting. If you've paid attention to a specific few edits that I had Snowy do in my past Isaac videos, you'll probably know where this guy's going. So I'm just not going to beat around the bush. I'll explain later. Tainted Jacob is my 5th favorite character in the entire game. That is such panic-inducing risk reward of having this looming threat, a sword of Damocles, without actually having Damocles, which you still could. This sword of Damocles always hanging over your head that isn't just looming threat, that it might fall at some point. It is consistently falling and you have to avoid it, only for it to get put right back up, so you have to wait for it to fall again to avoid it again. There is never a dull moment when you are playing as Tainted Jacob. Completely adverse to Jacob and Esau. Ironically, if you just kill Esau and make him really angry with the fact that he's fucking dead, Jacob becomes one of the funnest characters in the game. On top of the whole thing of, you know, never a dull moment, you're always doing something as Tainted Jacob. He's also just a really good character because Dark Esau does a lot of damage. Even if you don't end up getting like the amount of good items you would need to be able to speed through the floors without Dark Esau ever showing up, there's always the possibility that you can just use Dark Esau as your damage. Oh, did you get, you got soy milk as your first item, so now your DPS sucks, but hey, I guess you have volume of fire, right? Oops, Dark Esau's here. Cool. I'm gonna use my soy milk to kill the regular flies, and I'll just pay attention to Dark Esau and have him kill all the problem children. Oh, cool. Looks like I got Monstro. Guess I'm gonna be here for 2 hours. Oh wait, Dark Esau. Here, Monstro, hold still. I'm gonna drop Dark Esau on top of you and just have your entire HP get vaporized in like 3 seconds. I'm trying to get boss rush here, so I'm trying to speed through. You know, you understand, Monstro. Tainted Jacob's great. I can understand totally why people would hate Tainted Jacob so much, purely because of the constant stress that you're dealing with, always being exactly 2 hits away from death. But at the same time, people like The Lost. Why not Tainted Jacob? The Lost is constantly at a threat of taking 2 hits and dying. Why not Tainted Jacob? Top 5 favorite characters. Absolutely love Tainted Jacob. At the very, very bottom of S tier. Next up, we have Dark Judas. Not Tainted Judas. He's the one that's different. He's not Tainted Judas. He's Dark Judas for some reason. I get it, but like, whatever. Dark Judas is super cool. Dark Judas is super cool, super strong, and it's just, I have no complaints about this character whatsoever. Dark Judas is such a good, such a fun character and such a strong character that this is one of very few intentional like res items that you can get, being Judas's shadow, that you're like, oh hell yeah, that you actively think about dying just to do it. 9 lives, of course, you're like, oh cool, I basically just win because I have 9 lives. I can die almost however much I want. I'm definitely not going to chew through like half of these lives or anything. I'm good. 1 up, you're like, oh okay, cool, I could get a devil deal that I couldn't get otherwise because I only have 1 heart container. Cool. 1 up. Onk. Oh cool, I die and turn into a bad character. I'm just gonna go ahead and reroll that. Broken Onk. Oh cool, I die and have a chance to res as a bad character. Oh boy. Lazarus Rags. Oh cool, I can die, come back, and have a damage buff. Cool. I also have spin down dice, and you're gonna turn into Godhead instead. Guppy's Collar. Oh wow, this looks cute. Well, I guess if I die, there's a 50-50 that I might still be able to continue playing. And then there's Judas's Shadow, where it's, oh sick, I got Judas's Shadow on my dark room. Nice. So I can take that, then take something else that I couldn't afford otherwise, die, come back as Dark Judas, an objectively good character, and also have a 2 times damage multiplier on top of that. Hell yeah. Dark Judas is a good character, Dark Judas is a fun character, and ironically, Dark Judas is also an insanely good item. So yeah, Dark Judas is honestly going to be right in front of Tainted Forgotten. Stupidly good, stupidly strong character, and with a really cool active item that I genuinely don't hate getting in a run that isn't Dark Judas dedicated. Super good character. Next up, we have Tainted Keeper. Maybe I should do something with Tainted Keeper going forward. We'll keep a pin in that. But for now, Tainted Keeper is a super interesting character to me. I wouldn't say I actively like playing him all that much, but I don't hate playing him. I think he's interesting. I appreciate his gimmick. It's very interesting to try and work around, okay, I need to take as little damage as possible so I make as much money as possible, but I also need to ensure that like my fixed spawn coins that are just from room clear rewards, I don't immediately grab them because I don't need to heal right now, and in case I do need to heal, I can come back and grab it. He has all of the same cautionary stuff that regular Keeper has, with the addition of being able to generate money to be able to heal, to be able to buy your items, to be able to do whatever the hell you need to do with your money. So to that degree, even with him not getting any items unless he can afford them, he's pretty much solved all of my problems with regular Keeper. Granted, he has less HP, so he's gonna die quicker, and you kind of need to play stupidly aggressive to be able to, you know, maximize stuff, because the coins are gonna go away really quickly. But Tainted Keeper in general is a super cool, super interesting character that fixes a lot of my problems I had with regular Keeper. So I think I'm gonna place him right behind Eden in B tier. Super cool character. And now we have Tainted Lazarus. Being Tainted Lazarus and Dead Lazarus. Oh, I'm very tempted to put you in F tier, but you do have a good item, kind of, half of the time. It might be good, it might be bad. You start with a quality 4 item that I would say is quality 4 maybe 33% of the time. There is not a single good thing I enjoyed about Tainted Lazarus. I have had the least amount of fun full marking Tainted Lazarus compared to every other character in this entire game. I did not enjoy a second of playing this character, because either one of your characters is good and the other character sucks ass because you give the first character all of the items, or you get half of the items you see. And flip on any other character is really strong because you effectively, so long as you have a charge, you get twice as many items from any given pedestal that you would otherwise. There have been runs where I've just gotten in insane luck with flip and a 48-hour energy pill where I get like 8 items from a devil deal just from using flip. That's a really strong item, unless you're specifically playing the character that starts with it and unlocks the item, because you're playing 2 characters. You can either accept that one of them is just gonna suck the entire time and just make one of them good and hope you have the charge or you've laid things out correctly to be playing the correct character, because whenever you clear a room, you change, so you're playing the good character when you go to fight the boss, or you make both of them incredibly mediocre because you're effectively getting half of a build on each. There is nothing enjoyable about this character, like at all. Either one is super good, the other sucks ass, or both of them are just kind of okay. This is... Do you know how a lot of the times for like movies or games or whatever, you would either want them to be really, really good, obviously, or really, really bad so you can still get enjoyment out of it, of laughing at it? Sort of like watching Jacob's Ladder, because it's an amazingly good movie that inspired the Silent Hill series because it was so good. You could watch that because it's a genuinely good movie, or at the same time, you could watch The Room. Tommy Wiseau's magnum opus of one of the worst movies ever created, but it's objectively hilarious because of it, and honestly might be one of the most quoted movies ever made. So you would either want a piece of media to be so amazing that it sticks with people forever, or so terrible that it goes down in history as one of the best, worst movies ever made. The worst thing you could possibly make is something boring. The worst outcome for something you have made is to be rated a perfect 5 out of 10. You either want a 1 or an 8 to a 10. Those are the ones that you want. If it is a 5 or a 4, that is the worst, because it has literally nothing to talk about. It is purely average. It is just here. It is a thing that exists that you don't particularly want to interact with, because it's not good, it's not bad, it is just here. That is Tainted Lazarus. And because of that, Tainted Lazarus is one of the worst characters in the game. They have nothing going for them. They are just okay enough to be completely unremarkable. The only reason I am placing Tainted Lazarus in D tier and not F tier is because technically, big air quotes, they can be kind of strong if you get lucky with flip and you meter things out properly, so you're playing the good character when you need to and you're playing the bad character when you don't care. They can be good. They're going to be at the very bottom of D tier, but they don't quite get into F tier because they have anything going for them. And then, of course, conversely, we have Tainted Lilith, one of the strongest characters in the game. Like, oh my god. In essence, solves the problem I have with regular Lilith, where I don't really get a full say on where my damage goes, which I do because I can shoot a baby out. I can shoot a baby out and slap them with that instead, and just repeatedly slap them with the baby until they die, because that does a fuck ton of damage. And even if I don't just keep slapping them with the baby, I can just hold a button and the baby will auto shoot. I don't even have to worry about aiming because Jello is just going to aim for me. And then, of course, you can get other familiars on top of that to get conjoined. You have other familiars shooting for you. Having King Baby on Tainted Lilith is really helpful because you now just have two different sets of auto turrets that are shooting for you, so you can just focus on damaging if you're not, whipping people, obviously. And of course, if you pick up her Birthright, all of your familiars are now on top of Jello and are that single massive auto turret, which is really good. It's stupidly good. Tainted Lilith is one of the strongest characters in the game, and of course, she unlocks Twisted Pair if you beat the beast, I believe. And Twisted Pair, of course, is one of the best familiars in the entire game, especially if you get BFF, because instead of being a portion of your damage on each, they now exceed your damage, but there's also two of them. Each of them is doing more damage than you now. That's stupidly strong. Full respect on Tainted Lilith, I don't know that I would play her all that much, so I think I'm gonna place her in the middle of B tier, probably a little bit behind the Forgotten. I am gonna move, oh, that's Tainted Eden. Never mind. I was gonna move this up because I thought, for a second, I thought that was regular Eden, but regular Eden's up here right where he should be. Ah, yes. Moving on to Tainted Lost. Now, I did mention that the Lost is perfectly balanced, the exact right amount of risk reward, and Tainted Lost kind of skews a little bit too far. However, I don't hate an excessive amount of risk versus reward, because Tainted Jacob is up there in S tier. So that should give you an idea on how I feel about Tainted Lost. Tainted Lost is obviously a nightmare with the fact that you only get a temporary Holy Mantle with your Holy card. It's possible that the only Holy card you ever get is that one you start with. You might never see a Holy card. Tainted Lost does have a slightly skewed higher chance to run into Holy card than any other character, just to make it fair. But it is possible, purely through the bad graces of Edmund McMillan thinking it's funny, you might just never get another Holy card. So you get one temporary mantle for your entire run, and that's it. But there's also always the possibility of you getting blank card in your shop, and that's the only Holy card you'll ever need, because you can just refresh it with your active item whenever you need it. And then from there, you know what you have is Tainted Lost? You have regular Lost's Birthright, making it so you never get an item that's irrelevant to you. And you effectively start with Sacred Orb. So you're just getting good items. You're not getting all good items, because of course there's items that aren't affected by Lost's Birthright, or they're a little bit too high quality to get completely ignored by Sacred Orb, but they're still a bad item. You'll still run into those and all. But in general, you can kind of just count on getting at least a decent build every time you play Tainted Lost, which, if you happen to get super lucky and you get something like the D6, the D Infinity, even if you just ended up running into an ED6 or a D4, odds are you're gonna get a good build, because you're going to be rolling through basically nothing but good items. And if you picked up all of the mediocre items that through the whole run, then just rolling your build, you're probably going to roll into a really good build. Tainted Lost is an amazingly fun character purely because of that looming threat of always being 2 hits from dying, and if you take that first hit, you're now 1 hit from dying until you find that shield again, which, depending on how lucky you are, you might never find it again. If you enjoy stress and seeing how well you can handle under stressful scenarios, Tainted Lost is an amazingly fun character to play. I myself am pretty damn good under pressure, so that's why I like Tainted Lost so much. And moreover, me playing Tainted Lost as much as I have to, get Dead God and everything has made me significantly better at the game. I have gotten perfection on non-mantle characters so much more often since I finished marking Tainted Lost. It is insane. Tainted Lost is the perfect skill check character. The Lost is the most perfectly balanced character between risk and reward. Tainted Lost is the perfect skill check. If you want to get better at the game, play Tainted Lost. And now that I think about it, I think I like Tainted Jacob just a little bit more. So my 5th favorite character in the entire game is Tainted Lost. But of course, still an amazing character immediately going into S tier. Moving yet further forward, in the last 2 characters, we have Tainted Magdalene. I feel nothing about Tainted Maggie. I think she's cool, I think she's interesting, and she unlocks hypercoagulation, which in very specific scenarios can be very, very strong. In general, this is another character that is in the game that I feel like I don't intentionally want to play all that much, but if I get them on a random Tainted run, I won't complain. Because Tainted Maggie is perfectly fine. She does what she needs to, she's not overly hard, she's not overly easy, she is a perfectly okay character. And because of that, I think I'm going to put her just above Tainted Eden in B tier. And now, finally, for our final character before the wrap up of this whole video, we have Tainted Samson. I hate this character. I hate Tainted Samson so much. If you were paying attention to, I believe, the Tainted Lost Greed video, the second one, the one that was live stream, I think that one, no, it might have been the first, it was Tainted Lost Greed, I remember that, it was one of those 2 videos. I put an edit where every character minus a few was in A tier, a few of my favorites were in S tier, and then at the very bottom was Samson tier. That is because I hate both versions of Samson for different reasons. Regular Samson, of course, it's the whole issue I mentioned about his having to manage his HP in an annoying way to be able to actually do full damage. For Tainted Samson, it's his active item, it's Berserk. I hate this active item so much. It is so dependent on being fast but careful about it that it's not fun. Trying to maintain your Berserk after, you know, it procs, which, if memory serves, his procs when you do a specific amount of damage and not an active item like the actual item itself, so it's even worse. Trying to maintain that Berserk while also not getting hit to keep your deal chance at all, I think this is the most unfun character in the entire game for me. Much like Tainted Lazarus, I did not enjoy a single moment of playing this character. I only had bad experiences with the Tainted Samson. They were a means to an end to get Dead God and nothing more. Moreover, I can't think of a single good thing that they unlock. They do unlock the Berserk active item, which in very specific scenarios can be good and is better than the Berserk he starts with because it's not based on like you damaging stuff or whatever or taking damage. It is purely based on, like, I think it's either room clear or it's a very long cooldown. I forget. I think it's a long cooldown. But even then, all of my problems with the actual function of using Berserk are still there. It being on a cooldown, it doesn't make it all that much better. There's nothing I like about this character. I hated playing him. I didn't enjoy any of his unlocks. I don't use any of his unlocks, to my knowledge. I can't even remember anything aside from Berserk that he does unlock. Maybe Bloody Gust, maybe? That's a very okay item. I don't know. I think Tainted Samson might be my least favorite character in the entire game. I would rather play Tainted Blue Baby than Tainted Samson. I hate that character. And with that, this significantly longer than I thought it would be video comes to a close. So for a brief recap, we have in at the very bottom of F tier, and we're just gonna climb up the list, so that's how we're gonna do this. At the very bottom of F tier, we have Tainted Samson, Tainted Blue Baby, Samson, and Tainted Eve. In D tier, we have Tainted Lazarus, and Jacob and Esau. In C tier, we have Blue Baby, Lilith, Apollyon, and the Keeper. In B tier, our biggest tier, we have Magdalene, Tainted Apollyon, Tainted Eden, Tainted Magdalene, Tainted Lilith, the Forgotten, Tainted Keeper, Eden, Tainted Isaac, and Tainted Bethany. In A tier, we have Tainted Cain, Bethany, Judas, Azazel, Tainted Azazel, Cain, Tainted Forgotten, and Dark Judas. And in S tier, the top god tier, my top 5 favorite characters in the entirety of the Binding of Isaac Repentance plus beta, we have number 5, Tainted Lost, number 4, Tainted Jacob, number 3, Isaac, number 2, The Lost, and number 1, regular ol' Eve. I was fully expecting for my favorite character to change from when I first start playing Isaac to when I get my first Dead God, but I'm honestly really surprised to see that Eve just kind of vibes perfectly with me. She's still my favorite character. I just love her a whole lot. Not because, you know, not directly because of this, but through funny happenstance, a favorite OC of mine that I actually haven't drawn yet and still need to get to is also named Eve. Not intentionally because I like Eve in The Binding of Isaac so much. She's not named after Eve Binding of Isaac. It just so happens that I really like Eve in The Binding of Isaac, and I now have a character that I really like named Eve. So maybe there was some subconscious stuff there of me liking this name because I like this character, so I'm gonna give them this name, so I like this character. I don't know. I love Eve. She's my favorite character. She's a whole lot of fun. I appreciate Horror Babylon. Oh my god, I was not expecting this video to be this long. I've been recording for 1 hour and 40 minutes, so Snowy has a lot more chopping down than she normally does. Thankfully, Snowy, I have, you know, started easing into my new schedule. So you only have to work a little bit the first day, and then you can finish up the second day. So you get more break time. Isn't that cool? Nope. All right, so moving on to the end of the video, I would like to thank you all once again for watching this wonderful video here. And while I'm not going to just have a stream of nothing but Isaac tier list videos, there are still other videos that I want to get to. In particular, along with, you know, me originally planning to Let's Draw this week, and then, you know, I got Dead God. There's also another video idea that one of my patrons suggested to me that I do want to try. So make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss these new videos, and I'm going to be doing more Isaac tier lists in the future. They're going to be dotted around here and there, so I don't flood you with nothing but, you know, tier maker videos. But I am planning to do yet more Isaac tier lists, so if you like that, make sure to stick around. With that being said, if you genuinely enjoyed this video, consider dropping a like and make sure to hit that subscribe button to become a pup if you haven't already, and hit the bell so it actually does something. A huge shout out to all of my current patrons. I love you all so much. If you want to support me in the channel, you can do so on Patreon for just $5 a month and get a bunch of cool perks, or you can just buy some of my art. I hope you all have a lovely day. Make sure to leave a comment down below saying what your favorite Isaac character is, even if for just design. On the next video, you might be the next comment of the week. My name's Vixie, and I will see you all in the next one. Goodbye.